Hello, welcome back to my fave fanfics. Here, I post, well, my favorite fanfictions, if that wasn't obvious. I do hope you'll enjoy them as much as I do. Please like and subscribe for more content. Without further ado, let's get started.
Welcome, my dear faves, to the third part of What If My Hero Academia Reacts to Hunter x Hunter. Credit goes to Makifinity. Chapter 4. Rivals X in X Survival. Previously, the Kiriko's wing expanded. We will now take you to the exam site. Isn't it great that we all passed? Gon said. It's too early to celebrate. We've merely earned the right to take the real exam, Kurapika reminded them. What's wrong with celebrating a little? We're making progress, Leorio said. Strong trumpets played as the title flashed, Rivals X in X Survival. The sun blazed down onto a busy wide street filled with activity. Zabin City appeared on top. Well, looks like they did end up in Zabin City after all. Ribbit, Suyu said, finger-tapping her chin. Gon and his new friends have arrived in Zabin City, site of the Hunter exam, aided by the Kiriko navigators. People were shown lined up in front of stand-up shops that showcased various colorful ornaments and jewelry. The male navigator, in human form, led them through, paper in hand. As navigators, our job is to identify worthy hunter applicants and guide them to the site of the exam, he explained. Behind him, the trio followed the varying levels of interest in their surroundings, Kurapika being uninterested, Leorio looking around in half-interest, half-wariness, and Gon brightly smiling and taking everything in. The path to just getting to the hunter exam had so many obstacles for something that's not even the real test. Mirio said. Sir Night Eye hummed and thought. Hunters hold highly sought positions. I do wonder how many hunters there must be. In other words, it would be extremely difficult for someone to reach the site without a navigator's help, the man continued, slightly turning to talk to them. The scene switched to a frog skewered on a stick, with abnormal black eyes and markings. Hey, wanna try one? Gon leaned on the stand watching the vendor call out and attract people. It's Zabin's famous panda frog on a stick. The man shouted out, holding up the frog. A true delicacy. Quote. Nothing about that sounds delicious to me, Ciro grumbled, eyeing the frog shish kebab shown on screen with a bit of nausea. A sultry-looking woman with purple nails and lipstick held up an equally shimmery purple-looking accessory that resembled a turtle's shell. This brooch was excavated from Zabin's underground palace, she said in an air of mystery. She pulled it back, holding it up to her face while smirking. I bet that it's a national treasure, she enticed, as Gon, captivated by her words, pushed himself closer. Not a single word that left her mouth is in any way true, Jiru deadpanned. Gon is eating it up though, Uraraka winced at the boy's naivety. You know, Zabin City is a pretty shady place, Leorio said, cautious as he looked around. A monkey hopped about performing tricks as two men in turbans inhaled from a bomb-like device. Prosperous cities tend to attract all sorts of sketchy types, Kurapika added. A woman was on one side, with a crystal ball in front of her as she seemed to be telling the fortune of some customer she attracted. A group of men surrounded two siblings, one offering the boy a necklace as he hesitantly denied, his sister clutching behind him, frightened by the men. Creepy men make the best practice dummies for stabbing, Toga smiled, aggressiveness lacing her tone. Unnoticed, Mineta shivered in slight fear. Gon's eyes glimmered, as he let out an odd noise. He went from stand to stand, drawn in by the impressive catchy advertising that each offered. "What are you doing, Gon?" Leorio called out to the young boy. The navigator and Kurapika had stopped, noticing that the younger was indeed getting left behind. "We're leaving." Quote. Gon's eyes shone at the exotic fruit stand he had run across, the vendor clasping his hands in hopes of selling to the customers he'd drawn. "Okay." Gon hurried to catch up. Any second longer and Gon would have been emptying his pockets. Mina giggled at the boy's expression. The group eventually were led away from the busy market, reaching the square of the city. "I believe," the navigator began looking down at his paper once more, pointing straight ahead. "That's the building." Leorio and Kurapika looked up, Gon following their gaze as well. A bright smile graced his expression. Before them stood a large skyscraper. "It's tall. It's really a nice building," Gon exclaimed. "I know it's just the beginning, but I'm so pumped they made it." Kirishima exclaimed. The rest of the class let out sounds of approval. "They didn't struggle much to make it to the exam site. Let's hope that the same luck carries for the actual exam," Midoriya murmured. The three walked forward slightly, necks craning as they took in the sight. "So this is the exam site," Leorio said. "This is what draws," he continued seriously. "Hunter applicants from across the world," Kurapika finished. Gon's fist tightened and his expression became more determined than ever. "My first shot at the hunter exam. I wonder if this is how Dad felt when he first arrived," Gon said. "Despite the possible millions who aspire to be a hunter, there's obviously very few who've arrived, let alone passed," Aizawa said to himself, voice trailing off. On his other side, Present Mike hummed. "The building is pretty big, but if everyone who wanted to be there was, they'd probably need a stadium." "Hey guys." The voice of the navigator broke through, snapping them all out of thought. "It's over here." They turned simultaneously, seeing the navigator pointing elsewhere. "Here." They followed his direction, seeing him pointing to a hole-in-the-wall restaurant. Everyone in the theater sported a puzzled or deadpan expression. "Seriously?" Mineta squeaked. "Wait, is this a joke?" Leorio questioned, as the three walked up to the man. "Any way you look at it, it's just a restaurant. You're not saying all hunter exam applicants are meant to assemble there?" Leorio hassled. "There must not be that much if they can all fit into a restaurant?" "How many people must have failed the qualifications?" Mike said, eyeing the shabby-looking establishment. "That's it exactly." The trio were even more baffled at his response, as they turned to the restaurant. No one would ever expect the hunter exam, with its millions of candidates, to be located here, right? He reasoned. "That's true," Leorio quietly agreed. "They're certainly pulling no stops to make this thing hard to reach," Gran Torino said, impressed. A sizzling sound filled the air, food being fried in a wok by a chef turning it evenly around. "Welcome," he called out without glancing at the sound of the door opening. "Is the back room open?" the navigator asked. The chef looked over, asking, "What'll it be?" "The steak combo that will make me see the light." "For 3, the navigator replied, gesturing. The chef's posture changed, eyes staring intently. "For 3, EH? How do you want them?" Quote. "Some type of code, I'm assuming," Momo said, listening intently to the exchange. "Oh come on, if the person's made it that far, you gotta cut some slack," Magna huffed. "Grilled over a low flame, until done," the navigator said, unbothered by the change of air. "Got it. Please seat yourself in the back room, the chef simply said, turning back to his task. The group walked across the restaurant to the back, Gon looking around ever so curious. They arrived in the back with a round table, with 3 chairs waiting. "Wait here," the navigator instructed. "Wait? Where are the others?" Leorio asked. "I can't wait for the steak combo," Gon stated happily. Leorio bristled at Gon's words. Small laughter rang out in the room at Gon's words. "Deku 2.0 might be dumber than the real thing," Bakugo said. Midoriya let out a cross between a shout and a squeak. "Gon, that was just a password to get us inside," Kurapika informed the boy. "Oh man, so we don't get to eat it?" Gon said dejectedly. 1 in every 10,000. The 3 turned to the navigator at his words. "That's the number of applicants who make it this far. You've done extremely well for first-timers," he praised. "Well, good luck." "So out of 30,000 people, these 3 were lucky enough," Nijire said, coding her voice. Mirio smiled brightly. "These 3 are really something else." Quote. Gon extended his hand. "Thank you." The man paused for a second, taking in Gon's kind expression. He extended his hand as well, grasping Gon's for a handshake. "I would be happy to serve as your navigator next year, as well," he said gently. "You'd hope they'd pass this year," Shinso said. Kaminari puffed a bit in agreement. The navigator left, closing the door behind him, the room making a thud before rumbling. "What?" the 3 said, looking around alert. "It appears this room is an elevator," Kurapika said, gazing at the other side, the floor number decreasing every few seconds above their heads. "Makes sense, the restaurant is simply a front that leads to the actual site," All Might noted. Leorio took a seat, arms crossed, a slightly irritated expression marking his face. "Bastard, that makes it seem like he expects us to fail this year," he gestured. "Once every 3 years," Kurapika said. "What's that?" Leorio asked. With the 3 seated at the table, Kurapika continued. "The frequency with which a rookie passes the exam." Leorio let out a questioning noise. Midnight let out a low whistle. "The odds certainly don't look too good for the rookies," Dabi muttered, fake picking at his nails. A few of the hero students felt concerned for the trio. "It's that unusual?" Gon said. "Some mentally crack under the demands of the test, while others are crushed by the veteran applicants and never take another crack at it," Kurapika explained to the 2. "So I guess candidates are willing to risk everything to become hunters," Gon voiced. Leorio stood up, hands banging against the table. "But of course, my friend." Quote. "Oh no," Aizawa gritted out, feeling a pulsing headache suddenly come upon him at the loud exclamation. He stood tall, money raining in the background. "Hunters make the most money in this world." Gon blinked. "Wrong," Kurapika called out. Gon's attention switched to the blonde. Kurapika had also taken a stand, pushing his seat back. "Being a hunter is the most noble job in the world." The 2 faced each other off from across the table. "Good goody," Leorio insulted. "Money grubber," Kurapika shot back. Gon watched the 2, his eyebrows furrowed in concern. "They're going at it again," recovery girl TSKED, wishing she could thwack the 2 over the head with her cane. Leorio stood in front of the boy, hands firm on the table. "Gon. Listen," he pushed closer, as Gon leaned back at the intensity. "Every year, over 50 hunters make the list of the world's 100 richest people." Quote. Kurapika turned the table in his direction, swaying Leorio off balance. The image of bagging animals and scrounging for treasure belongs to the second-rate hunter. A hunter's real job is to secure order in both society and nature, Kurapika declared. Can't both types exist? Hagakure asked, a bit frizzled. The same way there are different types of heroes, such as underground, rescue, and underwater heroes. I'm assuming something similar works for hunters, Aizawa said, as he watched the bickering on screen. Now, look, Leorio began again. Once you're a hunter, most countries will give you a free pass to enter. And use almost all public resources. How are those benefits? Kurapika spun back towards him once again. He pointed up a finger, before saying, pro-hunters seek to preserve and protect precious cultural artifacts as well as rare flora and fauna. Equally important is tracking down wanted criminals and poachers. It's a tough but rewarding career. Quote, free pass to enter countries? That's a big bonus, Vlad King said. Leorio's mostly counting the benefits from being a hunter rather than the work put in. It doesn't seem like he really cares much about being a hunter, Tamaki mumbled. The fame and money, Leorio argued. That's why people wish to become hunters. He angrily looked over at Kurapika. Profound knowledge, sound mind and body, and strong convictions. These are the qualities on which hunters pride themselves. Kurapika responded, his voice rising. The two glared at each other, teeth gritted. They turned to Gon and yelled out, Gon! What do you think? Which kind of hunter do you strive to be? Exclamation mark. The boy in question, still seated and watching incredulously, had a shaky smile at the attention on him. Idiots, Shigaraki glared at the screen. He glared a little harder at Kurapika for the noble reasons he had prattled off. Gon doesn't know for the life of him anything about what a hunter is like. He simply wanted to be one just to follow in his father's footsteps, Midnight said admonishingly. Well, when you put it that way, he began unconfidently, not sure what to say. The elevator dinged, the sign above marking, B100. The tension dissipated, as the older two backed away. I think we're here, Kurapika said. We'll continue this later, Leorio grumbled. Gon let out a happy sigh of relief. Majority of the class let out the breath they had been holding in as well. Vraiment, they are so intense, Aoyama observed. The doors of the elevator rumbled open, revealing a dark looming area filled, pipes running across the upper walls. Their footsteps echoed, as they walked into where hundreds of people were standing around waiting. Their arrival drew immediate attention, people looking straight at the newcomers. Leorio walked forward, suitcase slung over his shoulder, expression serious. Strange atmosphere down here, he made note. They clearly differ from the hunter applicants we saw at the port and in the city, Kurapika said seriously. Everyone peered at the screen, noticing the change in tension. I'm not there, but I can almost feel the pressure, Sato said. Everyone eyed them with levels of caution and contempt, a strange air surrounding them. Each here is a master, in their own right, Kurapika observed. Gon stepped forward, oblivious. Excuse me, he said, putting up a hand. His expression fell as he noticed the animosity that seemed to radiate from everyone, before they turned away silently. Everyone's really tense, Gon said. Yikes, even at the UA entrance exam, people didn't go as far to ignore you so boldly, Kaminari winced. Tokiyami nodded. A hand extended forward a circle with the number 403 plastered on. Please take a number, a short green-headed person said, holding it out to Leorio. Leorio took it from him. Here you go. The numbers, 404 and 405, were handed out to Kurapika and Gon respectively. Here you go. Be sure you wear this on your chest at all times, the person informed, as Gon blinked widely at his number. Are those numbers accurate? There's already over 400 people there? Kirishima spoke. Mina shrugged. Possibly. As Gon placed the badge on his chest, a voice spoke out. Haven't seen you guys around before. Sitting up on one of the pipes was a portly man, wearing a blue sweater vest, the number 16 plastered across. Hey! He greeted jovially. If the badges are accurate, then this guy's been one of the first here, Mike said, hand on his chin. The three turned to face the man where he was sitting up high. You can tell we're new? More or less, the man responded. He jumped down from where he was sitting, approaching them with a friendly smile. After all, this will be my 35th attempt. The class cried out in unison, 35th? Question mark. Bakugo's eyes narrowed and he sniffed. This guy's a fucking loser. 35th attempt? Exclamation mark. The trio reiterated after him, Gon and Leorio loudly exclaiming while Kurapika simply murmured. Well, you could say I'm an exam veteran, the man continued pointing to himself, unbothered by their reaction. Wait, if the hunter exam is annually, then, does that mean he's been trying for 35 years? Iida questioned, looking horrified by his own revelation. A few of the teachers grimaced. That isn't something to brag about, Leorio slyly said under his breath. Indeed, Kurapika said in the same manner, closing his eyes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, he told Gon, offering a warm smile. Thank you, the boy said. My name is Tonpa, the large-nosed man said, extending a hand in greeting. I'm Gon, he responded back, completing the handshake. Well, he seems nice enough, Jiru muttered. I'd be careful taking advice from a guy who's been failing for the past 35 years, Spinner scoffed. Bakugo remained tense, now glaring at Tonpa on the screen. What type of dumbass keeps trying for 35 years? They are Kurapika and Leorio, Gon said, turning slightly to look at the two behind him respectively. They offered a slight nod in greeting. Hey, are there others who have taken the exam a bunch of times like you? Gon asked. Well, I have the most experience here, but there are a few others, the man began. He pointed over to his right. For instance, there's him. The camera veered over to a badge number marking 225, belonging to a heavy-set man eating from a bento box criss-cross on the ground, eyes narrowed. Number 255, Todo, the wrestler. He definitely doesn't look friendly, someone said. He's unmatched in strength. And he's pretty smart. The camera switched over again. On the other side, we have number 103, a man sat with his eyes closed, sharp eyebrows and mustache, with an even sharper hardened look on his face. Bourbon, the snake charmer. He tends to hold grudges, so you don't want to end up on his bad side. A snake slithered over his shoulder, hissing protectively as the man remained stone quiet, eyes slitting open slightly. All of my years of experience have told moi that this is foreshadowing, Aoyama said with a wink. Years of experience? In what? Ojiro asked, confused. Aoyama simply smiled and stared at the readers. Ojiro turned away at the sudden silence, too creeped out to ask anything else. And then, the camera switched over to a man with drooping brows and thick mustache, grayed hair pulled back into a ponytail, as he sat solemnly meditating as well. Number 191, Badoro, the Kung Fu Master. He's getting old, but there still isn't a better martial artist around. The scene switched once more to three individuals, each facing a different side, streaks of black under their eyes, sporting odd expressions. Then you have the three brothers, Amori, and Umori. They performed consistently well, thanks to their excellent teamwork. Midoriya scribbled with an intensity into his notebook, writing down information that could hold importance later on in the exam. The scene quickly switched once more, to a dark-skinned man fiddling with what seemed to be a wasp's nest attached to the end of a stick. And number 384, Jaretta, the Huntsman. He wore shades, expression unreadable as he analyzed the sharp needle-like object in his hand. He specializes in killing all manner of creatures by blow dart and club. There are many more, but they have taken the test the most times, Tonpa finished explaining to the trio behind. Gon let out an odd noise. All of them looked pretty intense and sharp too. I wonder how hard the test is because they've taken it multiple times, Uraraka voiced. Nedzu's eyes glimmered with unspoken thoughts. Footsteps rang on the ground, as a man with bulky armored shoulders and a purple cape walked past them. He shoulder-checked an odd figure with their back turned, a heart and diamond on the back of their shirt. The head full of brightly red hair slightly turned to look at the offender. "Hey, that guy, I think he was in that intro we'd watched," Kirishima said. All Might's eyes widened a bit in recognition. Gon and Tonpa were engaged in conversation, with Leorio and Kurapika standing by listening carefully. A loud tortured scream rang out, drawing the attention of everyone. Red flower-like petals drifted to the floor, before a pair of knees thudded on the ground as well. Eri squirmed a bit closer to Aizawa, the screams of pain reminding her of the lessons overhaul would teach her. "What the hell?" Bakugo said, sitting up. Toga clasped her hands and cooed. The man from before held out his arms before him, screaming in shock and pain as his arms were disintegrating right before his eyes. The crowd behind watched in shock and alarm. The hero students let out various noises of shock and confusion, their teachers on the edge of their seats tense. "Is he losing his arms?" Dabi said, brow raised at the display. The flower petals continued to slowly float in the air, gravitating towards the same odd figure, badge number 44, whose arms were crossed, a teardrop and star on his face that carried a predatory expression. "Oh, how peculiar," he drawled. His arms seemed to have become flower petals and disappeared, he said in a derisive manner. "It is that creepy clown-looking guy," Hagakure whined out. Aizawa's jaw clenched, a sinking feeling in his stomach at the tone of the man's words. He stood across from the crowd of gathered applicants who were all standing defensively as they watched the man with caution and slight fear. Slowly uncrossing his arms and holding them out, he slyly said, "No smoke and mirrors here." Guitar chords strummed in the background, as Gon's eyes widened at the scene. A too wide and wicked grin stretched across the face of the man. "Do be careful. When you bump into someone, you really should apologize," he spoke, eyes slitted. "Where are the proper authorities to deal with this villain?" Endeavor gruffed out, expression tight with his arms folded and fists balled. "He seriously injured someone, because they bumped into him?" Mirio said, voice low and buzzing with anger. Toga humphed a bit. "Still no blood. The flowers are pretty, but they're so lame, especially if you're gonna be that creepy." The other applicants watched with contempt in their eyes, but none stepping in. "That awful guy's back again," Tonpa said, sweat beading on the side of his face. Gon turned to the man. "Again?" Kurapika and Leorio turned to him as well. "Does that mean he took last year's exam?" Kurapika questioned. Number 44. "Hisoka, the magician," Tonpa said in a grim manner. Said man walked on screen with an air of confidence and danger surrounding him, a teasing smile never leaving his face. "Last year, he was a virtual lock to pass the test, until he almost killed an examiner he didn't approve of." Leorio jumped at Tonpa's words. And they're still allowing him to retake the exam this year? Quote, "This man has a record for this type of stuff, and yet somehow he's still walking around free," Sir Night Eye said, a serious expression on his face. "Do they not care about the danger he poses to not only the applicants, but innocent people as well?" Powerloader said, shaking his head. "Of course," Tonpa confirmed. "Every year, the examiners and the test content change, and the examiners are the ones who chose the new content." A shadowy figure appeared, shoulders shaking as they laughed. A mask with slitted eyes that gleamed an angry red, with a narrow evil smile. "The devil himself could pass the hunter exam, if an examiner says it's okay. That's just how the hunter exam works." The scene faded to capture Hisoka's retreating back, people divided on both sides trying to remain as far as possible from him. Nedzu closed his eyes. Definitely a concerning lack of morals, he thought. His mind flashed back to the two-choice quiz taken by the trio. The question is, where does the line start and end? Single quote. So literal criminals can take the exam and no one says a thing? Midoriya asked, his pencil faltering. Who's to say there aren't already several at the exams, Todoroki added. Anyway, no one likes him. Steer clear of him, if you can, Tonpa advised. The four of them watched in silence at the intimidating man. He looks dangerous. That much is for sure, Leorio commented, voice grim. Tonpa perked, as if remembering something. Oh, right. He reached into his strap-over back, shuffling through. How about a toast to friendship and luck? Exclamation mark. The three watched as he pulled out orange cans from his bag, holding them out. Friends. Juro said dubiously. That is a little fast, considering they have just met, Iida said, pushing his glasses up. Leorio and Gon smiled at the invite, while Kurapika simply looked on. Oh. Thank you, Leorio said. Reaching out, Leorio took the first can, while exclaiming, as it so happens, I was thirsty. Tonpa reached out and handed drinks to both Kurapika and Gon, the latter offering out an enthusiastic, thanks. Quote. Everyone watched the scene quietly, unsure what to think of it. Bakugo, however, glared even harder at the screen. There's no way I'd trust something from a bum who's been failing back to back for 35 years, he thought. Thank you, Kurapika quietly said. Further ahead, three applicants grinned to themselves, laughing. There he goes. He always plays the nice guy, another said, a mocking smile on his face. Despite being nastier than anyone else here, the three grinned amongst themselves. Tonpa, the rookie crusher. Oh come on. Kaminari cried out. That is so not manly or cool, Kirishima added to the protests. Ectoplasm sighed. Some are willing to focus on tearing down others solely to win. Best of luck to us all. Tonpa said cheerfully. They clicked their cans together. The trio began to open their drinks with varying levels of enthusiasm. Tonpa chuckled to himself, a scheming expression crossing his face. The juice I just gave you contains an extremely strong laxative, the man thought to himself. He watched as Gon happily brought the can to his lips. One sip, and for 3 days, your guts will feel like they're on a non-stop roller coaster. You'll need diapers to take the exam. Single quote. That's gross, Mina said, shaking her head in disgust. That's a serious cheap shot, Ojiro said, crossing his arms. Gon tipped the can back, as Tonpa snickered to himself. Tilde 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 tilde. Tonpa continued to chuckle to himself, watching the trio with a close eye. Gon took his first sip, before pausing. A moment later, he spat it out, eyebrows creased, with a noise of dissatisfaction. A few of the students cheered. I wonder what tipped him off, Suyu croaked. Tonpa startled at the sudden reaction. Gon looked at the man with a sheepish expression. Mr. Tonpa, this juice must have gone bad. It tastes funny, Gon admitted. At his words, Lirio spat out his drink with vigor. Seriously. That was close. Lirio shouted, a tick mark on his forehead as he wiped the remnants of juice from his mouth. I don't know how the little guy does it, but he keeps beating the odds, Kaminari said, eyes full of mirth. Shigaraki merely scoffed at the enthusiasm. What? That's strange, Tonpa stuttered, putting a hand behind his head as he sweated. Tonpa's eyes widened as he thought to himself. Impossible. That laxative should have practically no taste nor scent. Tonpa looked back up to see Kurapika calmly emptying the drink onto the ground, eyes closed. Well, if there's one thing for sure, Blondie certainly wasn't fooled. I don't think he ever took a sip, Gran Torino said. The man clapped his hands together, bowing his head low. I'm very sorry. I didn't realize the juice had gone bad, he cried out. It's okay. You don't have to apologize. Is your stomach okay, mister? Tonpa, Gon asked innocently. Why yes, I'm fine, Tonpa said. I've tasted all kinds of mountain grasses and plants. So I can usually tell when something's off, Gon informed. Really? That's amazing, Tonpa sweated. Damn it. I just had to run into a mountain kid, didn't I? He angrily thought to himself. Was that an insult? Najire deadpanned. Midnight rolled her eyes. He most certainly tried, she said. Gon hasn't suspected a thing, Uraraka noted at the boy's question. Tonpa stood up from where he was kneeled on the ground. Sorry about that again, I'll see you around, he said shakily, waving a hand as he walked away. What a talkative old man, Lirio muttered. Tonpa walked through the midst of the applicants, an irritated look across his face. Still, there's something wrong with this year's rookies, he thought. He turned his head to the side, lazily glaring at the back of a bald man with a red scarf talking animatedly with a group of people. So this creep just goes around targeting every single newbie. Talk about loser, Shiro said, gesturing with his hands. Hey, it's the Saitama-looking guy. Kaminari pointed out. That number 294, Hanzo, too. He seemed gullible when I approached him. The screen flashed white for a moment, before showing Hanzo, who looked around in a suspicious manner. "Don't tell anyone else," he began, before raising his hand to cup over his mouth to cover his words from prying ears. "But I'm actually a ninja," he finished. Tonpa blinked wide, drink still in his hands. "Oh, really? Is there any point to trying to keep it a secret if you tell the first person you see?" Dabi said. "I seek the legendary scroll, HxH," Hanzo said in a hushed manner, before shushing loudly, hand slapping over Tonpa's mouth as he looked behind warily. He turned back to Tonpa, a smirk on his face. "The ultimate ninja scroll. That's why I desire to become a hunter. So far, everyone we've seen who wants to be a hunter has a different reason," Present Mike said, thinking back to Gon, Leorio, and Kurapika. Tonpa watched him with a dumbfounded expression. "I've heard that it's hidden somewhere inaccessible to ordinary people. Anyway, it's boring here," Hanzo said cheerfully, putting his hands behind his head. "Yeah, I guess so, how about it? Let's toast to our new friendship," Tonpa offered, holding out the drugged drink. Hanzo looked down at the outstretched hand, before pushing it away. The bald man held up a hand, a serious expression on his face. "Shinobi do not eat or drink anything offered to them by others." "Sorry." His eyes held an unreadable expression, a misty-looking aura surrounding him. "Whoa, it's like a switch flipped," Uraraka said, mouth forming an O. "I wonder if HxH is the same way," Mina whispered to Suyu. "Oh, I see." Tonpa nervously laughed. The memory blurred and became fuzzy before switching back to Tonpa, who was intently peering at the turned back of Hanzo. "I could tell by his eyes that he's no fool. One false step and I could be in real danger," Tonpa thought. A clicking noise broke his concentration as he turned around. With the badge number 301, was a tall abnormal man, with purple-grayed skin, yellow pins protruding from his chest and all over his face. His head ticked oddly, eyes unfocused, a creepy smile twitching on his face. "Oh," Iida said, eyes wide at the sight. "Even in our world, that would be a very rare mutation," All Might said, voice hesitant. "I'm gonna say it, it's creepy. His expression isn't making it any better," Mina said, closing her eyes, arms crossed. "Speaking of danger, there is number 301. The creepy figure loomed past the other applicants, blue hair sticking out as they tried not to stare in his direction. "That guy just oozes peril. I can't even go near him." Tonpa turned back around, expression disturbed. His eyes narrowed. "Then there's that one guy the first can't stand," he thought sourly. He eyed a young man wearing suspenders with a bowl cut, computer sitting on his lap, hand on his chin. Number 187, Nicholas. If he wants even a half of a chance into tricking these people, maybe he shouldn't stare them down so hard, Mr. Compress sighed. The screen flashed white once more, showing the young boy, Nicholas, seated on a large pipe running along the floor, tapping away on his computer. "Must have been tough to make it here," Tonpa started the conversation. "Not really. Everything went as predicted by my data. I used historical data, from past hunter exams, to calculate this year's location," the boy said with an air of confidence, fingers flying over his keyboard. "TCH. Nerd," Bakugo said with a roll of his eyes. Tonpa watched with a clueless expression. It was quite simple. Frankly, I was bored senseless, he said smugly, smoothing down his hair to the side. Really, that's amazing. My name is Tonpa. Nice to meet you, the older man said, holding out the drink in vain. Mr. Tonpa, is it? Nicholas inquired, typing once more on his computer. Oh, there you are. His computer showed a headshot of the man before him, body measurements, and several facts listed below. This is your 35th attempt, the second highest attempt by one person. And with 30, you have the most consecutive appearances. Very impressive, Nicholas stated. He's only second highest? I wonder what poor soul is first, Aizawa thought a bit amused. Well, he's done pretty thorough research, Vlad said, looking at all of the detailed information written on the computer. Please, it's no big deal, Tonpa said. He offered the drink in his hand. How about it? Let's drink to friendship. Patting his hair again, Nicholas smoothly ignored his attempt. But, you have yet to actually pass the exam. I assume that's because you're too absorbed by your other objective. Tonpa made a noise of confusion. Nicholas looked at him with a twinge of arrogance. Tonpa, the rookie crusher. What? Tonpa said, shocked. Nicholas closed his laptop before standing on his feet. Well, I won't share this knowledge with anyone else seeing as you hold the record for consecutive appearances. Goodbye, the boy said, turning around and leaving. Tonpa gritted his teeth in anger at being found out and dismissed so quickly. I'm assuming he must have pissed off enough people that they've written about him online, Gran Torino said gruffly. Pathetic piece of shit, Bakugo said, cracking his fists a bit. The memory blurred once more. You bastard, just you wait, Tonpa thought. A devious grin crossed his face. I'll break that snotty nose of yours. Hey mister. Tonpa. A bright voice called out. Tonpa turned, looking at the call. A pale boy wearing a white shirt with blue sleeves under-waved, skateboard held under his other arm. Could I have more of that juice? Must be my nerves, he said, putting a hand behind his head, blue eyes glimmering slightly. Oh, I remember him from the intro as well. The skateboard kid, Hagakuri cheered. The laxative-filled juice? Iida dubiously stated. Tonpa looked taken back by the request, putting up a hand. Oh sure, he said with fake cheer. What the hell? The laxative he drank should have taken effect by now. What's going on? Tonpa thought to himself. The boy walked forward with enthusiasm. He cracked open the orange can, drinking happily as Tonpa watched, dazed. In the boy's hands were 2 more cans of juice. It's only a laxative. But if he consumes that much, he could die of dehydration, Tonpa thought grimly. And the idiot is going to let the kid drink enough to kill him? Question mark. Recovery girl fumed, waving her cane around. He'll shit his guts out. Pa, if the kid's dumb enough let him die, Twice shouted. Are you worried? Tonpa looked up at the boy. I'm fine. I've built up my resistance, he said calmly. No poison will kill me. His face held a playful, sharpened expression. He turned away without saying anything more or less. Aizawa felt the scar under his eye throb a bit and groaned. More problem children. The teachers murmured a bit to themselves. Nothing screams okay here, Present Mike said nervously, letting out a chuckle. Tonpa stood silent for a moment. Poison? He knew what was in the juice. But he still drank it? Number 99, Kahlua, Tonpa muttered to himself, watching the boy leave. Kahlua walked casually, expression relaxed, revealing nothing. This year's rookies are all insane. Tonpa thought, his teeth grinding together once more. He held it for a moment before grinning. Well, it doesn't matter. That just means crushing them will be all the more worthwhile. A shot of all the applicants appeared. I've made an effort to not judge people anymore, however I think it's safe to say now that Tonpa is definitely a despicable person, Iida said, chopping his arms. The hero students nodded in agreement. A man who's spent his entire time at an exam trying to fail others. No wonder he's been there for so long, Todoroki said, closing his eyes. A frog-like alarm with large teeth and dangling tongue rang obscenely, the noise drawing everyone's attention. The trio watched intently. A finger tapped the button on top, stopping the noise. A heavy wall rose from the ground, rumbling the area, to reveal a figure in a suit and tie standing squarely. Is it starting? Eri mumbled from her spot next to Aizawa. The attention of many sharpened at the reveal. I apologize for the wait, a man with a curled mustache and purple hair said. The registration period for Hunter exam applicants has ended. The screen panned out dramatically. The Hunter exam will now begin. He declared loudly. Definitely, totally not nervous about a test that I'm not even taking, Kaminari joked, wiping away fake sweat. I believe in them, Uraraka said, cheeks puffing out as she threw a fist into the air confidently. A few, such as Hanzo, grinned. Kahlua simply pouted with nonchalance. Hisoka hummed, slitted eyes and slight smile revealing nothing more. The trio all perked, determined. A final word of caution, the purple-haired man said. If you lack the necessary ability or if you're unlucky you will end up seriously injured or even dead. Those who accept the risks, please follow me. He stretched out a hand. Otherwise, please exit via the elevator behind you. A few in the audience reeled a bit at the announcement. Wait, death? Exclamation mark. Mineta cried out. Aizawa's concern for the trio skyrocketed. What type of exam can cause death? Quote. Nedzu remained contemplative, head tilted but otherwise quiet. In the back all for one hummed to himself. Certainly a breath of fresh air, compared to our stiff hero system. Despite his words, not a single person made a move to leave, each face determined. Very well. All 404 applicants will participate in the first phase. The man swiveled around, arms moving robotically, as he swung his leg high into the air. He firmly set it on the ground, marching. Behind him, the applicants trailed. Of course no one left. I'd hoped a few might withdraw, said dejectedly glancing around. The man continued to march, footsteps ringing on the ground. The tempo changed. Getting this far and turning away without much effort would be impossible for some, but, even in the prospect of death? Midoriya said, puzzled. Even participating in the UA exam, he always knew the risks of getting injured. However, trusted the exam to have the proper measures to ensure that none of the students would end up with any serious wounds. Is it just me, or did he kind of get faster? Gon looked with wide eyes. The applicants who were walking fell into a slight jog, a bit surprised that the man seemed to be getting farther away. The purple-haired man continued to take long strides, as the applicants behind him began to run. What's going on? Leorio questioned. The people in front started running, Gon said. He's picked up the pace, Kurapika added. As the man continued to walk, he said, I've neglected to introduce myself. I am Satats, your examiner for the first phase of the exam. I shall lead you to the exam's second phase. Totally doesn't sound ominous, Spinner said under his breath. The first phase has started? Kirishima said, eyes glued to the screen. He did say the exam has begun, Tokiyami said. Second phase? What about the first phase? Hanzo asked. It has already commenced, Satat said simply. Murmurs rang out from the crowd of applicants. It's already begun? This is part of the test? Satats turned slightly, not losing pace. You must follow me to the second phase. This is the exam's first phase. Definitely seems way too simple, Shinso said with suspicion. Maybe there's a hidden meaning to it, Sato said, remembering the hidden rescue point of the UA exam. Follow you? That's it? Hanzo asked again. Yes. I cannot tell you where or when you must arrive. You just need to follow me. The applicants continued to run after the man, who seemed to be getting farther away with each step. I see how it is, Kurapika said. What a weird test, Gon remarked. So it's just an endurance test. Fine by me. I'll be right behind you. Leorio said, smugly smiling. But not knowing how long we have to run will seriously test our mental resilience. They're testing our psychological strength as well, Kurapika analyzed. That holds true. The applicants are entering a high-stress situation where they hope to succeed. Limited information and the pressure that brings can definitely wipe out a few that are weak-willed, Sir Night Eye added. What if they get there and Satats just keeps running? He said he won't tell them when they arrive, Mina said, chewing her lip with worry. The applicants appeared running again, from the veterans, such as Todo and Jaretta, to the rookies, Nicholas, who Tonpa followed with a gleam of contempt in his eye. The exam's first phase begins, amidst a mix of warriors and villains. One candidate is disqualified before it even starts. Hisoka's leery expression appeared on the screen. Disqualified? Majority of the class said. The total number of hunter applicants is 404. Gon appeared, running, his hands firmly gripped onto the straps of his bag. His badge number 405. His paced breathing could be heard. As the screen faded out and the lights rose, the room exploded in chatter. Who got disqualified? Shoji quietly asked. Many shook their heads without any clue, before Bakugo said, the extra whose arms got turned to fairy dust. Turning to him, they remembered the unfortunate man who bumped into Hisoka. Wait, was it just his arms, or did his entire body fade away like that? Jiru asked, feeling a bit sick. I hope not, Uraraka said, feeling frustration rise inside of her at the remembrance of the act. I hope that creep loses again this year, and stays far away from the three while he's at it. Hagakuri said, waving her arms, unseen. I can't help but think about that other little boy, Momo said, thoughts trailing to Kahlua. You mean, number 99? Todoroki questioned. Was he serious about being resistant to poison? Was he born like that or, Zero trailed off. The class didn't like the other possibility that came from thinking. Separate from the class, the teachers and other fellow heroes made quiet talk amongst themselves. I'm just more concerned for Gon, besides that one kid. Everyone there is practically an adult, Ectoplasm said. The risk of death in an exam, I don't know yet whether it's intentional or that they can't secure the safety of everyone participating, Midnight said seriously. I'm assuming it's intentional. There's no way for an exam having been around for so long, I'm presuming, having not found a way to keep the safety of its applicants. Even the most run-down and shadiest of hero schools have the proper measures of testing the students without compromising their well-being, Gran Torino said. Nedzu popped into the conversation with a slight smile. No matter whether it's intentional or not, the atmosphere of the exam becomes 10 times more stressful for those who are first taking the exam. Certainly either pushes the applicants to either break or make it. He hopped back into his seat. Although I am getting quite curious about how the rest of the exam will take course with these warnings in place. The villains sat back, without much discussion. Wasn't expecting that warning of serious injury or death. Wonder if this thing is legit, Magna said, comfortable in her seat. Shigaraki rolled his eyes. Just another stupid scare tactic. I wouldn't be so quick to say that, Shigaraki. After all, someone did get disqualified from quite literally getting disarmed, Mr. Compress said, a bit amused. There's a subtle lack of concern how they disqualified the man rather than acknowledge that he'd been put out of commission in a rather cruel way, Compress thought to himself. The moderate talking faded away, as many became anxious in anticipation from what the hunter exam would entail. Without much talk, the screen fizzled bright once more. Unfortunately, this part is over. I hope you enjoyed it. My apologies for all those quotes. Please have a good morning, afternoon, evening or night. See you next time, faves.